Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Quick Spin, the Autoweek podcast that gets to the essence of the automobile. Today, we are talking about the 2021 Ferrari 812 GTS that the great Mark Vaughn spent some time with. You can take a look at this Ferrari on our Instagram right now. That's at Autoweek USA. And hey, while you're there, why don't you head over to our Facebook page, click that like button. That way you get all the great Autoweek content we deliver daily. We're going to spend a lot of time with this Ferrari in just 1 second, but first we have to pay the bills. Want to join us and our friends at Road and Track at annual testing events, epic automotive events like the Quail, and for excursions around the world? Join the Track Club by Road and Track. You'll get first dibs on these ultra-exclusive experiences, full access to premium print and digital contents, tons of privileges and perks, and the opportunity to virtually chat with the best auto editors in the world. Hop on into the Track Club by visiting roadandtrack.com/autoweek. That's ROADANDTRACK.com/AUTOWEEK. And Mark, tell me about this Ferrari.
You know, when they drop these things off at my house, because they always flatbed them, you don't just drive them over. It is actually a special event. It's a Ferrari just stands out from anything else in the world. I remember Denise McCluggage once wrote that there are no two words that go so well together as my and Ferrari. So, you know, if you can say, yes, this is my Ferrari, that's it's beyond everything else. It's a special cachet going all the way back to, you know, to Maranello and Enzo and all that stuff. It's just a really special deal. And this car is in many ways kind of, if you had to pick a flagship of the brand, this has certainly got to be it. The 812 GTS Gran Turismo Spider. And Spider, of course, means convertible in Italian, maybe, or in Ferrari. So this one is a convertible version of the 812. Now, you would really want to go back to the 1969 365 GTS4 Daytona Spider to find a series production V12 front engine rear drive Ferrari like this. Now, I know all the letter writers are going to be outraged and say, no, there were limited editions. And there were the 550 Barchetta, 575M Super America, 599 SA Aptera, 512 Berlinetta from the Special Projects Division, yada, yada, yada. But, and like I say, when I saw it on the flatbed, I just thought it was beautiful. Now, I had, I think last year, the 812, which was just, the coupe, the fixed roof. And I love that one too. It's the same look to it. They can really they've taken what you have to have certain hard points. You have to be able to fit the V12 under there. You have to have headroom for the passengers, and, you know, the exhaust goes out the back. And in between that, the styling guys have a lot of room to play around, and they have really done a beautiful job with this. Well, of course, we'll get to that in the walk around, but it's just, and it's a car that its looks are not writing checks in lira that the Banco Nacional can't cash. It's it does really well. I guess we'll get to all that, including the 211 mile per hour top speed. But it's just a beautiful thing to behold.
Well, first, Mark, let's hope that the fine officials in California did not see you go 211 miles an hour, because you only drive at posted speed limits, I am sure.
To clarify, that is the top speed of the car. I did not go 211 miles an hour.
Legally speaking. But you did mention a walk around, which, hey, that is what we call a transition in the biz, and we're going to go to that right now.
It is walk around time for the fabulous Ferrari 812 GTS. Let's start at the rear. You can see 4 quad tip exhausts here. They are big and round. There's a little valence panel there that, I don't know. I'm looking underneath it. It looks like, I'm sure they'll tell you that it does something, but it doesn't seem really big enough to get any downforce off of the rear. The tail of it at the top has a kind of a raised little lip that probably smooths out the airflow quite a bit. There are two, the rear half of this is dominated by 2 huge fairings that under which are concealed the convertible top mechanism. And there are a couple little exit gills here for various airflows that go in and out and around this beautiful car. Huge tires. Rear tires are 315/35 ZR20 Pirelli P0s. And, man, there's no messing around with those. Huge brakes on the inside. You can see them. This car is sort of a blue color and has silver wheels and huge brake caliper on that huge disc. Everything's huge here. But overall, you look at the rear three-quarter of this thing, and it's just beautiful. It looks like it's ready to launch at all times. It looks like it should be on an aircraft carrier deck, hooked up to that steam catapult or something, instead of just parked here in this beautiful mountain setting. Then you go, of course, down the side. There's a couple of nice lines flowing along there. Nice rocker panel. There is, of course, the fabulous prancing horse, Scuderia Ferrari logo on the side with the Maranello yellow background. And then you come up to the front, and it's equally beautiful. You can see all the way back, 50 years ago, that the Ferrari Daytona was sort of the last series production version convertible, V12 powered convertible. And you can see some of those proportions, and you can see where other manufacturers have sort of stolen the proportions of the Ferrari. Okay, not stolen, been inspired by. I hate to say it, but I can see some of the old front engine Corvettes in the general proportions of this, not in the details. The details are all Ferrari, and they do look quite stunning. Little not flicks, but sort of additions on the outer edges of the lower air dam. A couple more prancing horses on the front. Walking around the whole thing, it just looks quite stunning, quite beautiful. I mean, it is the quintessential GT, the Gran Turismo right here, ladies and gentlemen, the Ferrari 812 GTS.
Now, Mark, the facts and figures of this bad boy. How many horsepower? Obviously 12 cylinders, and what kind of transmission are we dealing with?
Okay, well, the horsepower is 800 CV, which is cavallino, which is Italian for horsepower. And when you translate that to SAE horsepower, you have 789. So the 812 in the title refers to 800 horsepower, 12 cylinder. I guess that's how I'm interpreting it. 6.5 liters. It's a 65-degree V12, same as the Superfast. Naturally aspirated, direct injection, variable inlet tracts, equal length, 6-to-1 exhaust on each side. And it sounds nice, but it's not, it doesn't overwhelm you. It's not like you're thinking, wow, this is a sonorous symphony of echoing pastiche. That's not even a word. Now, you asked about the transmission. So the transmission is a 7-speed dual clutch, which I was very happy with. And in fact, when I first, on my way up the mountain, I was shifting myself. So there's a button on the center console that says A, and that's for automatic. It's right underneath the R for reverse. Don't hit that when you're on the mountain road. And so I was doing all the shifting myself manually. And then on the way down, I took it, I put it back in automatic, and I think it was doing, this is one of those rare cars that in my opinion, it was doing as good or better a job at shifting than I would have done otherwise.
Well, Mark, it sounds kind of like you drove the thing. Wait a minute here. You actually sent me some recordings of you driving the thing and putting it to the old test. Let's go to that right now.
That is a sound you never get tired of hearing. Pull back on the right paddle for first gear. Maybe even adjust the seat so that you can... it's really hard to get to these seat controls. I actually had to open the door to get to the seat controls. Okay, so there is a flaw. Door's closed and we're off. Well, now we are up on a great mountain road, and I've been driving up here for several miles, going through the corners. Quite a bit of fun. This car is long and maybe a little bit heavy. You do definitely feel a difference between this and the V8 powered Ferrari, of course.
But, the F8 Tributo. But you also feel the difference between this and something like a GTC4 Lusso, which is much larger and much heavier and much longer. So it does a nice job straddling the two. If the F8 Tributo is a sports car, and the GTC Lusso is God knows what, maybe the precursor to an SUV, then this is the definition of the Gran Turismo, the GT. It does quite a nice job of it. I'm hoping that in a few minutes, this white Honda CR-V with the dog hanging out the window will find its trailhead, where it's going to go hiking, and then I can get back to driving with spirit. But until then, I'll switch off here.
If there's a young person in your life who's really into cars, give them the gift of R&T Crew, the ultimate subscription box by Road and Track for kids ages 6 to 10. Every month, a box is delivered to their door and is stuffed with cool accessories, fun activities, and a magazine chock full of facts, stories, games, and more. Sign up now to receive the all-new Mad Scientist box and enter code Autoweek for 10% off an annual box subscription. Just head over to rtcrew.com, that's rtcrew.com, and use code Autoweek. But Mark, wow, that is quite the phenomenal Ferrari you just drove. I have to ask though, this is not the only Ferrari in the current roster, nor obviously available, right? There's a whole lineage of Ferraris, and it's also not the only Grand Tourer of the Ferrari lineup right now. I guess what I'm saying is, how does this stack up against the Portofino or the Tributo, and why should I be buying the 812?
Well, I think you're thinking of the Roma. There's the Roma. The F8 Tributo. The 812 is really like I say, the Gran Turismo. It is the comfortable car that you could not only drive all day, every day, but you could drive it across the country. You could drive it across the continent of Europe on your way to your business dealings up in Norway or something, and go fast the entire way. It's a comfortable car that is also a very powerful and very fast. As I said, 211 is what it says on the spec sheet, 211 miles an hour. 0 to 124 in 8.3 seconds. You're not going to find a car this comfortable that can perform like that.
This is a Grand Tourer. It's not to be confused with a true hardcore sports car, but you were driving it pretty spiritedly, and it sounded like it was a very engaging experience. Would you say this is as, good of a sports car as you're going to find for a car called a Grand Tourer?
Yeah, probably the king of the Grand Tours right now is, this. Although, you really can't fault any of them. You've got wonderful cars from Aston Martin, from Maserati. There's a bunch of them out there, and there's not one that you get into and go, this is terrible. But I would say of all those, you could make a really good argument that the 812 GTS is the king.
We're getting to that point in time in the show where I have to hit the hard-hitting questions. So Mark, I have to ask, what is the essence of the Ferrari 812 GTS? What makes it special?
I think GT, Gran Turismo, stands for to look cool and be comfortable and go fast. So that's what this thing is. And we haven't mentioned so far, to get all that, you have to pay. So the base price of this car is $397,544. However, mine was fully loaded. The car was fully loaded. I was not. Okay, I was sober as a judge. But my test car was $534,000. So take that into consideration when you're planning your dreams.
I have to ask, Mark, do you know Ferrari finances 84 months?
I think you would need 84 years.
Oh, well, we'll see. Well, I'm going to go to the local Ferrari dealership, and we'll see if I can get one of these. No, Mark, thank you so much for taking us along on this trip. I know it's hard work. Somebody has to do it.
I'm happy to suffer for our listeners.
And speaking of our listeners, hey, while you're listening to this, why don't you please go to the Apple Podcast Store or wherever you're listening to this bad boy and drop a little 5-star review, or if it's out of 10, and let us know what you think about the show and let us know what you want to hear about in the future. I will also give you a shout out. Don't forget that. And hey, while you're playing around on your phone, click over to our Facebook page and click that like button. That way you'll get all the great Autoweek content we deliver daily sent right to you. But most importantly, and I can't stress this enough, without your listenership, none of this could be possible. So thank you for listening.